We talk all the time on this channel about endorphins and what they are and how they work. But today I wanted to talk specifically about why they're so important. You see, when we talk about the endocannabinoid system, there are three main parts that we always seem to focus on: the endocannabinoid neurotransmitters, the cannabinoid receptors, and the enzymes that help regulate the system. But in reality, the system is made up of many other important components, including, for example, the transporter proteins that carry endocannabinoids throughout the body. And without these various components working together in harmony, the ECS would not function properly and our health would definitely suffer. But the topic for today is specifically one of the most important neurotransmitters in our entire endocannabinoid system. Anandamide. In fact, anandamide has been shown to be one of the most abundant neuroactive lipids in both the human brain and the rat brain. So it's pretty safe to assume that it plays some kind of crucial role in our overall health and well-being. In fact, anandamide has been found to play a critical role in modulating or adjusting pain sensations, inflammation, appetite, memory, learning, stress, anxiety, and even our mood. So clearly it does a lot of important things. But in this video I want to share with you just 5 important reasons why anandamide is so vital to your health. And you may be surprised at some of the things that it actually does. So let's get started. No one. The first reason that I want to mention is because anandamide is a powerful analgesic. The word analgesic simply means that it can reduce pain. As a matter of fact, anandamide has been shown to reduce pain in several different ways. For example, it activates the CB1 receptors that inhibit the release of substance P, which is a neurotransmitter that is involved in transmitting pain signals. It also works by activating the vanilloid receptor subtype 1, which is also known as the capsaicin receptor, which is actually the same receptor that is activated by the compound found in hot peppers, capsaicin. Interestingly, this same receptor is also responsible for sending pain signals to the brain. So by activating this receptor, anandamide actually blocks pain signals from getting to the brain. Also, anandamide works by binding to the transient receptor potential melanostatin 8, or TRPM8, which is a receptor that sends cold and pain signals to the brain. So, as you can see, anandamide works through multiple different pathways to reduce pain. This is why it is such a powerful analgesic, which brings me to my next point. No. 2. Anandamide is a powerful anti-inflammatory agent. Just like pain, inflammation is another protective mechanism that our bodies use to keep us healthy. However, chronic inflammation has been shown to be involved in almost every single disease state that we know of. So, reducing inflammation in the body can be a very good thing. Anandamide has been shown to reduce inflammation in several different ways. One way is by binding to the cannabinoid receptors, which inhibits the release of pro-inflammatory cytokines like tumor necrosis factor alpha and interleukin-1 beta. It also reduces inflammation by activating the peroxisome proliferator activated receptors, which are known as PPARs. This activation leads to the suppression of pro-inflammatory genes. Another way that anandamide reduces inflammation is by inhibiting the lipoxygenase pathway, which is an enzyme that is responsible for producing pro-inflammatory eicosanoids. So, as you can see, anandamide's anti-inflammatory effects are just as robust as its analgesic or pain-relieving effects. Reason: no. 3. Anandamide helps regulate our appetite. You probably already know that the endocannabinoid system plays a big role in regulating our appetite. In fact, that's how the popular appetite-stimulating medication called dronabinol works. Dronabinol is actually a synthetic form of THC that is prescribed to patients who have lost their appetite due to certain diseases like cancer and HIV/AIDS. But did you know that anandamide also stimulates appetite? This is because anandamide binds to the CB1 receptors in the hypothalamus, which is an area of the brain that is responsible for regulating hunger. When anandamide binds to these receptors, it stimulates neurons that promote feeding behavior. Anandamide has also been shown to stimulate appetite by increasing the levels of another appetite-stimulating hormone called ghrelin. Ghrelin is produced mainly in the stomach, and it is released when the stomach is empty to signal to the brain that it's time to eat. Studies have shown that mice who lack the ability to produce anandamide actually have lower levels of ghrelin than normal mice, which causes them to eat less and lose weight. So, as you can see, anandamide plays a crucial role in regulating our appetite by acting in both the brain and the gut. Reason: no, for anandamide is essential for normal memory and learning. There are several studies that have shown that people who have a deficiency in anandamide actually have memory problems similar to Alzheimer's disease. This is because anandamide helps regulate the release of acetylcholine, which is a neurotransmitter that is essential for memory and learning. Anandamide also helps regulate long-term potentiation, which is a process that is responsible for strengthening the connections between neurons. This strengthening of the connections between neurons is essential for both memory and learning. Interestingly, anandamide has also been shown to improve spatial memory, which is the ability to remember where objects are in relation to each other. This is likely because anandamide helps regulate the activity of the hippocampus, which is an area of the brain that is responsible for spatial memory. And finally, reason: no. 5. Anandamide is important for maintaining our mood. As I mentioned earlier, anandamide helps regulate the release of several other neurotransmitters, including serotonin, dopamine, and glutamate. These neurotransmitters are all involved in regulating our mood. For example, serotonin is a neurotransmitter that is responsible for feelings of happiness and well-being. Dopamine is a neurotransmitter that is responsible for feelings of pleasure and reward. And glutamate is a neurotransmitter that is involved in regulating our stress response. So, by helping regulate the release of these neurotransmitters, anandamide indirectly helps regulate our mood. In fact, studies have shown that mice who lack the ability to produce anandamide have higher levels of anxiety and depression than normal mice. They also have a blunted stress response. So, as you can see, anandamide plays an important role in maintaining our mood and our ability to cope with stress. So, as you can see, anandamide is an incredibly important neurotransmitter. It is involved in regulating so many important functions in our bodies. And when it is deficient, it can lead to a number of physical and psychological problems. Although more research needs to be done to fully understand the endocannabinoid system and the role that anandamide plays in it, what we do know is that keeping our X in balance by using things like a healthy diet, regular exercise, and stress management techniques can help ensure that our ECS is functioning properly and that we are at our healthiest. Now, if you enjoyed this video, make sure you check out my video on the top 5 things that can boost anandamide levels. And also, don't forget to check out my website. I will see you next time.